Welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, here in a very hot and stuffy Ibiza.
Me, Richie Pryor, in a very hot and stuffy Mallorca. How are you, Mark?
Touche, Richie. Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. All good.
Getting busy?
Yeah, you listen, it's July, kids' holidays now. Yes, it's getting busy, which, what we're all here for.
I said to somebody yesterday, actually, my remark to them was, because I think on this coming Saturday is like the change in the guard. It's 4 weeks of toughness, so to speak. But I said it's not a bad trade-off. 4 weeks of hell for 48 weeks of heaven. So I'll take that, Rich.
Yeah, I totally agree. And obviously, I was back in the UK last week, and I could see obviously kids finishing up their schools, running out of the gates, happy as Larry. Do you know what I mean? Getting ready for the summer, because obviously they have about 5 or 6 weeks off in the UK, don't they, compared to our 3 months here in Spain. So yeah, no, all good, Mark, all good. What you got for me?
Well, I've got a few things, Rich. I mean, we were supposed to be joined by Dwayne Nolan, but he's gone missing, as he always does. He obviously had a hard
good old
night.
Dwayne.
Yeah, no. Actually, he messaged me. He's got a puncture, so he's had to go to the garage. However,
that old chestnut.
I know. He sent me a video. He seems very interested in sending me the video to prove it as well. So
punch it on the way back from Universe, was it?
I believe you, Dwayne. I believe you. I want to touch on a couple of things. I've got a funny story about some taxis. Our normal yachting story, because we like a yachting story this time of year, don't we? So I've got a yachting story. I managed to get to Soho Farmhouse, say, at the weekend. So I'll do a little mini review on that. I've also got some news about another place that's open, which is very similar, but quite blingtastic. And also got quite a serious spot to do, mate, because I don't know if you saw, but Ibiza's been in the news again this week because we've had another balcony fall, which led to a death of a young lad. So I want to just touch on that. I don't think we can actually ignore that, Rich, can we? Because, we are a current affairs program about the Balearics, and it's been on national news in the UK. So as much as I'd like to forget about it and move on, I don't think we can.
No, it's probably something we should start on, Mark, because it's very serious. We're talking about, of course, Ibiza Rocks Hotel is it San Anne, Ibiza Rocks?
Yeah, it's right in the centre of town, yeah.
Okay. And there's been 2 balcony deaths, as far as I'm aware, over the last week or so, isn't it?
Yeah, funnily enough, they've both been from Aberdeen as well, Rich. Which, I mean, I think it's just pure coincidence, but 2 young lads who both from the same neck of the UK. So it really is tragic. I mean, we've both got kids about that age, haven't we, Rich?
Yeah.
So it hurts, especially when it hurts everybody, but when you've got kids that age, you really feel it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And I've seen online that Ibiza Rocks have issued a statement. I don't know if you've seen this statement. It says, "We are deeply shocked and devastated by the recent incidents that have tragically occurred. Our priority is to support those affected and the loved ones during the incredibly difficult times and to fully assist the authorities with their investigations. The safety and well-being of our guests has and always will remain our highest priority. And given the seriousness of the situation and out of respect for those involved, we believe it's right to pause our advertised events program at this time. All customers will be informed directly by email." So that's the statement that was I saw on sort of social media over the last 24 hours. So
I shared it, Rich, and I got a lot of messages about it. Now, for transparency, I need to say that my son actually works for Ibiza Rocks, so we're quite involved in it as well. And one of my best friends actually runs the general manager there as well, so I know it quite well. What I would say is my personal thoughts is, one, it's a tragedy. Remember, we talked about the planes and people coming over on the planes, and you see them coming over, and these youngsters and these teenagers, they seem to think they're bulletproof, Rich. They get on the flight and they just go ballistic. They start drinking and doing other things, and it carries on. And the tragedy of these incidents is that more than often it happens on the first or second night of their holiday, because they just get totally overwhelmed with it all, and literally they think they can do anything. And I don't know the details of this case, so it'd be wrong for us to speculate. But I can only say what I see when I travel. And I see youngsters of 18, 19, 20 acting very strangely, acting out of type. They don't do that in the UK. And when they come to places like Ibiza, they just seem to go mad, for want of a better word. And I think it's just this is just a cumulative effect of that way that they approach the holiday. I really do.
Well, it's something that I think I don't know what it's like in Ibiza because you'll know better than me, but it's something that here, where I am in Magaluf, we've talked about the resorts sort of upgrading themselves and making themselves better, and it has been sort of something that has gone off the news quite a lot over the last at least year or so, maybe the last couple of years. Balconing obviously is something that we've talked about before, and we've obviously know the campaign from the government about stick with your mates and look after your mates and make sure they don't do things that they wouldn't normally do, etc. Which we both agree is a good campaign, and I know we've had obviously dealings with the government as well, who've contacted us directly, haven't they? In private message us and said thanks for helping us with this, and we're more than happy to get that message out there to people, of course. But as I say, it's something that, because the resorts are changing, they are sort of moving to more sort of coupled stroke family market type of resorts. You're still going to get that element of young people coming because, it's the resorts are the resorts, but I think that's changing. But it's sad to see that, these things do still happen. And as you say, you said it earlier, Mark, we've both got kids of that age, and it must be devastating.
But Rich, again, we'll go back with something that me and you have spoken about a lot on this Talking Balearics podcast, is that Mallorca seems to be moving towards a family couples market, where Ibiza, I think we don't want children anymore. I've read some comments. I blogged about Ibiza today, which I'll talk about in a little while. And a couple of people have said, well, we're families. I feel that Ibiza doesn't want families anymore. And I honestly believe that we don't want families anymore. There's probably pockets of places that do want families. But if you look at the island in general, all the resorts that used to be very big family resorts, Portanax, Calayonga, the north especially, Plaid and Bossa used to be the biggest family resort on the island. Now they're all adults only. They are attracting a certain crowd. Now Ibiza has got, in Spanish we call it fama. Well, I don't even know what the English word is, but the fame and the
fame,
way,
yeah.
the fame for a young person's resort. They come over and they enjoy themselves, and we've really created this situation ourselves, Rich. And are we reaping what we sow? I don't want to point the finger at blame at anybody at the moment, but when you create this culture of let's have this hedonistic island where you can do anything that you want to, then there is going to be collateral damage, and the collateral damage in this case is a young lad from Aberdeen who looked like he had a glittering ice hockey career in front of him, and it's absolutely tragic. But I really don't know what the solution is, Rich. Now, do we just calm it down on all levels? But that wouldn't be in keeping with Ibiza, with the free spirit of Ibiza. So, it's a really tough one, and my heart goes out to the people affected by it. But I really don't know what we can do over here, rather than just keep banging the drum and telling people just to calm, especially on the first day of your holiday, just calm down. And if there's any mums and dads out there listening to this podcast, which I'm sure there are, because our market is people of our age, is that just bang it into your sons and daughters' brains that just it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to achieve anything on the first night of your holiday by going absolutely ballistic. Just take it easy, take Ibiza in for what it is, and just stay safe.
From a point of view of not doing what they do back in the UK, as in the resorts, I think, listen, from a drinking point of view, I imagine it's still the same, whether you're in Durham or you're in San Antonio. But I think obviously if you're going back to a hotel, it's obviously you're not going back to your home. So when you go back to your home, you're respectful of your mum and your dad and everything else. Yeah. Whereas, you're not, you're going back to another establishment, which normally is, has levels, has floors, etc., and everything else, and you start to do things that you would never do at home.
Absolutely,
that's where the problem starts, I think. Do you know what I mean? But I was interested to see, because I obviously you did a piece on social media about how San Antonio has obviously done all this mural stuff and painting of the floors and the walls, etc. That's is eventually going to lead down into sort of Cafe Del Mar Mambo areas now. I think
they're connecting. They're basically connecting the West End to the Sunset Strip.
So what I'm sort of trying to get at is that the authorities may be changing from maybe the sort of the youth that we used to have, because the streets used to be carnage, for want of a better word. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And we don't really, we're not seeing that so much in Magaluf now. We're seeing a different type of clientele, if that makes sense. We are seeing more families, we are seeing more couples, and maybe the sort of the drinking culture is slowing down, or it's slowing down because the prices are so high as well.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, Richie. I think what we're seeing is an organic changing of the guard in Ibiza, where it's getting more expensive. there isn't that drinking culture now. What you're finding is there's pockets of hedonism. There's the super clubs, there's the day clubs as well. And now the onus is on those places really to control the crowds, because whereas before they used to be in the street, now they're in confined places. Now, if you look at the beach clubs, for instance, girls, ladies, women, they tend to really like those beach clubs because it's a confined space. It's safe. They can relax. They can pretty much not do what they want, but they can have a great time. So I think the onus nowadays is on venues, whereas when we were growing up, it was on the police and the pub in the public walkways, wasn't it, as well? So there are these pockets here in Ibiza. There's several of them where people do tend to enjoy themselves, and I think the onus is now on those places. And I really applaud what Ibiza Rocks have done. That I think they got it right. They've acknowledged that this is a tragedy. That they've stopped all their events and things. And I think a little bit of reflection from everyone is a really good thing to do. And listen, let's do a root and branch review of what we do, and hopefully that phone call. I've got a friend of mine who works in Ibiza Rocks, and he was involved in one before, and it's the phone call that you don't want to receive, and it's the phone call you don't want to make. And as I said, I
agree.
And I agree. Any parents out there, as I said, we've got kids of the same age, and it's just it's terrifying. And what concerns me about it, Rich, as well, is that it's the people that you don't think are going to do it. Because by all accounts, this last guy was a really fun guy, a professional ice hockey player, and very trustworthy. But as I said, Ibiza just tends to make people do things that they wouldn't normally do, and in a way, that's a great thing because you can lose yourself. But also, it's not a great thing because sometimes you do things that you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I agree. Should we move on?
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, please, Rich. Come on, let's lighten the mood a little bit, please.
Well, having looked at the agenda, Mark, it's sort of very Ibiza happy. This I'm looking at the list. I'm thinking, okay, so where's Mallorca in this today, Mark? Come on.
No, that was my list, Richie, not your list. So when Dwayne Nolan threw me a curveball about 20 minutes ago, I panicked and started.
I'm quite happy to learn about Ibiza, Mark. Don't you worry.
No. What have you got for me, Rich?
Well, I haven't got anything because I thought, if that's the list, I'm not going to be able to fit anything in here.
Did you? What I mean? No, the thing is, Richard, I blogged about. I don't know if you read my blog this morning because I know you're one of my massive subscribers, and what I want to touch on was I was on the street last week did a reel about San Antonio, and the word I kept hearing was quiet, right?
Yeah,
and I think that the problems we've got now, and I wondered what it was like from a Mallorca point of view, is it evenly spread across all the businesses, or are some businesses really busy and some businesses are really quiet? I just wonder what it's like over there.
No, exactly. I'm hearing that myself, Mike, exactly the same. And there's a big report come out in the paper today is from the Restaurants Association. And it says hundreds of restaurants will close this year because the summer hasn't been good. There are reports of different places, as you just said, dotted around the island. Some are doing well, but some are up to 40% down year on year. And interestingly enough, I flew back to the UK last Thursday, and my plane was half full for the sort of third week of July. I thought that was quite surprising, to be perfectly honest. And what I'm hearing is there's a bit too much capacity out there from an airline point of view. They've put probably too many flights on. There's a lot more diversity amongst the low cost, because the low cost are doing a lot more holidays now than they used to. They years before they were just a seat only airline, and they were selling tickets at 20 quid or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So people were booking. But what they're doing now, EasyJet obviously have EasyJet Holiday, so they're linking their flight seats in with the holiday, and obviously that packaged up makes them a hell of a lot more money. And I think if you go and you look at also Ryanair, apparently Ryanair's profits are up quite significantly in the first quarter from April to June. I read that this morning. And what Ryanair are doing, they have a deal with On the Beach and also Love Holidays. They're their sort of preferred airline supplier right now, I'm hearing. So you're seeing a bit of a change in how particularly the low cost airlines are marketing themselves, because obviously a seat sale with a holiday attached to it, as in a hotel, etc., is going to make more money than just a seat on its own. So that seems to be where they're concentrated, and that's showing in their profits. Likewise, you look at someone like Jet2, who fly from pretty much everywhere. Well, Jet2, if you remember, when they first started, were known as a northern-based company. They flew out of Leeds, Bradford to begin with, Manchester, Liverpool, etc. But now they're coming. Funny enough, when we were at Luton the other day, they had a big sort of, it was like I don't know, a welcome to Luton from Jet2, balloons and streamers and everything else going on. And my wife said, what's going on? I said, well, they've only just launched, obviously coming from flying from Luton in. So what you're seeing is a lot more diversification, I think, in the airline industries and the holiday industries. And I just think there's too much capacity out there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rich. I mean, if you look at what, I think Jet2 were the first one, weren't they? When Air Tours and Thompson and First Choice pretty much disappeared, there was a massive gap in the market, wasn't there? And Jet2 just filled that gap. And the CEO, Steve Heapy of Jet2 Holidays, did a fantastic job. They've just really blown up in a really positive way. They've filled that gap, that main. Us old reps call it mainline, don't we? It's classic mainline holidays.
Yeah.
And I think Ryanair and EasyJet have just looked at it and gone, hold on a minute. Instead of making 20 quid per seat, let's make 50 quid per holiday or 100 quid per holiday.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think it's just changed the dynamic. And, we touched on it a while ago, in Ibiza, the average stay now is 3 days. And the dynamics there, the bottom line, Rich, there's just not enough people for the businesses on the islands. We've probably got 10,000 businesses, and there's probably enough for 5,000 businesses. Yeah, I'm being general here as well. So it really is a changing of the guard. There's a lot of people saying Ibiza is expensive now, and the price. I think price is a lot to do with it, but we find a new market as well. We're getting rid of the old market, that old 7 and 14 day market, and now we're replacing it with a new 3 and 4 day market. And a great phrase is they're cash rich and time poor, aren't they? They come over, they've got a load of dough, but they haven't got many time, so they really want to smash it out in 3 days, which means to go to the best restaurants, they want to go to the best clubs, they want the best things. So if you're running a little family restaurant on the second street in Magaluf or the second street in San Antonio, you ain't getting any business these days, are you?
No, exactly. And I was just about to say the similar thing that, if you're staying in a 5 or 4 star hotel that's more than likely got its own restaurants attached to it as well, you're more than likely to stay in rather than if you're there for 7, you might go out once or twice a week. Do you know what I mean? But if you're only there for 3 or 4 nights, you're probably going to stay within the hotel. Well, you could see the reports there this morning. It says that some businesses down 40% year on year, and restaurants will close. That's what will happen, which is a shame. But, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the answer is right now.
Well, no, there is no answer, Richard. What happens is the weak fall by the wayside, the strong get stronger, and the entrepreneurs come in, and it's a new market. A segue from that is that I went to Soho Farmhouse on Sunday. Let's get it right. They've just opened up in Ibiza, and it was just an amazing place, Rich. It's an old agriturismo. Used to be called Casgassi back in the day. I went there before when it was an agriturismo, or just a normal agriturismo, 18 rooms, very bougie boutique place. And you can just see where the market's going. I've got to tell you, Rich, it's not really my scene, but I'm not the tourist here. I'm the local. So if this is what tourists want, and I've always said that the market decides. The market decides. We don't decide. We don't as a tourist or a resident go, oh, I want this, I want that. No. The market decides, because what is being successful at that time multiplies and multiplies and multiplies, and that's what you get offered. Now, Soho Farmhouse is, I've got to say, it was very reasonably priced as well, Rich. I thought it'd be expensive, but it's
really?
it wasn't cheap, don't get me wrong, but it was very reasonably priced. Beautiful surroundings. They're only 3 days in, so the service was a little bit haphazard, but you can tell that it's going to be absolutely fantastic when they've dotted the I's and crossed the T's on it all, and they're all up to speed. It's going to be a fantastic experience. And as I said, very upmarket, very middle class, should I say. And it's where the market's going, Rich, and we can't stop it. So there's no point in all those people saying, oh, Ibiza's not what it was, Mallorca's not what it was. No, it's not. It's moving forward at a pace. It's gathering pace, and it just doesn't seem to want to stop.
No, I agree. Now, interestingly enough, Mark, I was looking at your agenda list. Yeah. And is this new place that you talked about? Are we sure about this name? This is a beach club? I take it. Is it?
No. What's the name of it, Rich?
I don't know if I want to say, I don't know if I want to say it on air. It's called the Clap House.
The Clap House, yeah. It's
yes.
It's a funny story, Rich, actually, because the Clap House, I remember it as Aqualandia. It used to be a water park back in the day, believe it or not. Well, it wasn't a very good water park, but what it did have was a beautiful pool area, massive pool area with like 2 or 3 slides, and we used to combine it with go-karts and beach day and things like that. So we used to go up the Aqualandia. It's in a great part of the island, just up near Ibiza town. And this company have come in, they've literally knocked the slides down. But what they've done is they've embraced this beautiful pool area and made a spa, restaurant. So it's a kind of beach club without a beach, you know. Remember that?
Right. Remember those days.
I was going to say, remember the lads had one in Mallorca for many years. What was it called?
It was in a quarry.
It was Beach Fantasia or something like that. Beach Fantasia,
yes.
Wasn't it? In Mallorca, I remember those. So it was about 50 miles away from the beach, wasn't it? So
yeah.
Clap House is the new spa beach house that's not next to a beach, but it looks like it's done a deal with Dolce & Gabbana as well, which just saying those 2 words, Dolce & Gabbana, will tell you that the direction that it's in. It's got, I sent you the pictures, didn't I? It's got this really fancy leopard print everywhere as well. Prices are just completely eye-watering, but again, it will find its market, Rich, and again, it's not for me and you because we'll be down the Menu del Dia place on a €10 menu with a pint of beer, won't we?
Well, I'm hoping you're taking me out to one of these places, Mark. You know what I mean? A man of your stature.
But the Clap House, which they need to sack the advertising people who came up with that name, by the way. It will find its market, Rich, and I think again the Ibiza has. And we are being very Ibiza-centric today, aren't we? Ibiza has the second most amount of private jets now in the world. So it just shows you that there is a market for these people, and that's what they want. So where's it going to end, Rich? What we're going to do? Is it going to be like €1,000 for a piece of sushi, or what is it going to be? I don't know. But at the moment, everything top end seems to be working. Everything lower end doesn't seem to be working. So you do the maths.
Just a quick update on, we talked about the Hotelier Association, the billboards about the tourists last week. And
the gobbledygook? Was it like the
gobbledygook? And as expected, they have been obviously vandalised with people knocking out the "Go home happy, just go home." Tourists go home. It's marvelous, isn't it? I mean, you know,
I'm going to blame you for that, Rich, because you actually gave them the idea on the podcast, didn't you?
It's just like, come on, it was bound to happen, wasn't it? It's like, oh, come on. But anyway, so that's happened, unfortunately, and I don't think it's. I sort of think that it's sort of become a negative, which was supposed to be a positive, which is a shame because I think the actual idea was a good idea. It just hasn't really sort of turned out how it should have done, really, unfortunately.
As I said, mate, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, isn't it? It really is.
Exactly.
So, you know, again, it's kind of where the Balearics at, isn't it? You know, we mean well, but we just can't quite get it right, I'm afraid. So
no, exactly.
Not from the government level anyway. So there. 2 quick stories to finish on, Rich. I've got there was a great story I sent over. Did you see the fake taxi from Barcelona, which made me giggle? You know, we mention taxis all the time, don't we? You know, it's always an issue.
In fact, you can't get one.
Well, you can't. You know, if I walk out my road, there's literally 25, 30 people just waving at all the cars, thinking they're taxis. So you know,
yeah.
But there was the police stopped in Ibiza at one of these Barcelona taxis. You've been to Barcelona many times. The taxis there have got the yellow paint, don't they? So they've got a Barcelona taxi operating in Ibiza. So God knows what the guy was thinking of, Rich. I mean, because he stands out like a sore thumb. So he's got a nice €6,000 fine.
Nice.
And on Yacht Watch, we've got a good story from last year. Attila, the super yacht owned by it was an Argentinian. Let me get this right because normally I'll get this wrong, but it was owned by an Argentinian magnate and Filberto somebody or other, and his super yacht Attila got stuck outside Formentera, so he's got a nice little €200,000 fine as well. But let's face it, for someone like that, he's not gonna hurt us at €200,000. But you know, you'd like to think that, you know, he'd learned his lesson. But at the end of the day, Maurizio Filberti, there you go, Argentinian multi-millionaire. There you go, 70 million super yacht, got a €200,000 fine. So put a smile on my face anyway, you know, this morning.
And just a quick one on Celeb Watch, Mark, because obviously we've been celebrity watching as well. Magic Johnson was here. Yeah, Magic Johnson. Yeah, he had lunch in Caspatro March, which is one of the famous restaurants up in Daya. Yeah. And there's a great picture of him and the waitresses, and the waitresses look like hobbits next to Magic Johnson.
He's 7 foot tall, isn't he, mate? So he's enormous.
Yeah.
A quick one, Rich. You know what we mentioned last week about Soho Farmhouse, Margot Robbie being there? Yeah. I found out when I was there on Sunday that she was actually launching her tequila brand there, by the way.
There you go.
And that they've signed a little deal with her to be at most of the Soho Farmhouses of farmers. So a little interesting the way the business works, isn't it? So the dynamics of it as well. So I think we'll do full celeb watch next week.
Okay, mate. Good to talk to you, Mark.
Cheers, Richie. Sorry that we've been so much about Ibiza this week, mate. But if you get your stories straight, then we'll be okay, wouldn't we?
Well, I was expecting Dwayne, but Dwayne is obviously still trying to wait for the AA on the Ibiza High Road out of universe.
Allegedly. We'll get him next week because I'd like to talk about that amnesia that amnesia video that I don't think I'm qualified to speak about it. So we'll get him on. That amnesia video that you sent me. So we'll talk about that next week. Okay.
Okay.
Good to see you, pal.
And you, mate. Speak to you next week. Take care.
Have a good week, Rich.
Bye-bye.
Make me dance.